Welcome back to Closet Confessions. We had a comment come in that I really appreciated, asking for some generic examples of how you invalidate others. And it made me realize that it would probably be helpful for me to give some examples. Now, I don't want to do that and discourage you from going and actually looking at these resources that I've mentioned. I'm going to give you a smattering. I'm going to give you a little taste. And I'm going to really encourage you to go get those resources. If what you hear in what I share is like connecting dots for you and helping you realize, oh my goodness, there's some really good stuff here, let it be a springboard for you to go and look at these other resources so that you can get more. I'm literally just giving you a sampling. So the sampling is to help you realize how powerful this stuff is and that it can help you. So I'm going to go into a little bit of more depth here and give you some more information. But really quick, I'll give you one sample of how you invalidate others. And then that's really just to help you realize that you want to listen to this message. So to my dear friend who asked for a generic example, here's an example, a classic invalidation statement. Someone comes up to you and is really struggling with anything. It really doesn't matter what they're struggling with, but they could come in the front door and slam the door shut. Maybe they've had a really hard day, but you don't know that. You have no idea. You just know that they came in your house and they slammed the door shut. And so something that you would say probably to that is, and we've probably all fallen for this one, is, hey, don't slam the door when you come in. So that would be very invalidating right out the gates, and you will probably not get to hear what happened to that kid and why they were slamming the door. So that disconnects you immediately. Once you say something like that, you've just disconnected from that child. And a better way to handle that, another option for handling that would be validating, is describing what you see. So I can see you're really upset about something. Obviously, if somebody's slamming a door, they are upset about something. So anyway, saying I can see you're really upset about something springboards possibly into them telling you what's wrong. So it opens the door for connection. It validates that they're having a hard time. And there's so many kind of rules and tools that go with all of this. So I really am going to encourage you to look into these resources. And having said that, I'm now going to give you some education. So kind of going back to the beginning, we have universal needs. Everybody has them. There's 3 basic universal needs that we have. And I'm not talking about for survival. I'm talking about emotional needs. Everyone needs to feel like they are of worth. Everyone needs to feel like that their feelings matter and that someone really cares about them. That is a need. It's not a want, it's a need. So those are the 3 universal needs. Validation hits all 3 of those needs. When you validate someone, you are basically telling them that they're of worth to you, that you really care about them, and that their feelings matter. So we'll go into that when we get into examples. You'll see why and how that applies. The other thing that comes up in these resources that I've studied is our emotional attachment needs. Are you there for me? Can I trust you? Am I safe with you? That's by Sue Johnson. So the universal needs comes from I Don't Have to Make Everything All Better by the Lundbergs. And the emotional attachment needs comes from Hold Me Tight, Sue Johnson, her stuff. So anyways, those are really important. So when you sincerely validate someone, and at first when you're practicing this, it may not come out like sincere because you're kind of making yourself do these things, but it will come as you start having success with it. It will become more part of who you are, and it will come hopefully more from your heart. But when you sincerely validate others, you show them that you are there for them and that their feelings matter. When you show someone that you're there for them and that their feelings matter by validating them, this will help fill their other needs, which are feeling that they are of worth to you, that you really care, that they can really trust you, and that they are safe with you on an emotional level. So it all kind of ties together, those needs and those wants that people have. So as we do practice validation, it can address universal needs and build healthy emotional attachment. And yes, I am looking at my notes. I normally just speak off the cuff, but I am trying to use notes today. So the converse is also true. So using validation can help build that connection, but when we don't use validation, we can actually destroy the connection, even though we love others. Like that's the irony of it, is it will make people feel like we don't care, even though we totally care. So I'm going to read my notes for a second because I had a lot of words on this one. The converse is also true. When people respond to others with, and fill in the blanks because we have our different ways of responding when people need us or have a problem, they're having a problem, we can respond with aggression, judgment, defensiveness, because maybe they've come at you in an attacking way. That's very common when people are struggling, is they attack you. So we can come at them with aggression, judgment, defensiveness, shaming, blaming, using absolute language. I'll get into that in my examples later. Manipulation, solutions, advice, sermons, philosophies, accusations, questioning them, lecturing, dismissing them, downplaying what they're feeling, ignoring them altogether, like I'm not even going to go there with you, or PMAs, which I will get into also as well, but positive mental attitude. That's what a PMA is. Like I said, I'll get into that one. Though we may not be intending to kind of drive someone away with what we're doing, when we use those kinds of ways of responding to someone when they're struggling, it's in essence, it's saying to them that we're not really there for them, that their feelings don't really matter to us. And when we do that, that can cause them to feel that they aren't of worth to us, that we don't really care, which can lead them to feeling that they aren't safe with us emotionally and that they can't trust us. So to really be there for them. So that's why it's so important that we don't do things that are actually counterproductive to what we want to accomplish, right? So we don't want to feel this way in our relationships with others, and we definitely don't want others feeling that way, right? Because if you're listening to this, you don't want people feeling that way. So let's talk first just a second about what validation does not mean, because I think that's really important, because sometimes we think we'll be enabling others or bad behavior or whatever if we validate others. So let's talk about what enabling or validation isn't. It does not mean that you agree with them. It does not mean that they will get exactly what they want from you. And it does not mean that you have to sacrifice your values. So validation is not that. Validation is about connection. Connection in building your stronger bonds in all your relationships. So validation is about building stronger bonds with others, okay? So it can be used in all types of relationships: siblings, spouses, friends, coworkers, employers, and employees, meaning employees can use it with employers. Children can use it with parents. Grandchildren can use it with grandparents, and vice versa, of course. Random people that you meet just when you're out and about in the grocery store, on an airplane, or waiting in lines like we tend to do. It can work in blended families. It can work in strained relationships, which I think is just phenomenal. Anyways, there's just really any relationship type that you have going on, validation can help that relationship. It can be used in those relationships. So I'm going to talk more in another segment on some of the actual skill set now of validation.